The Muhammadu Buhari administration has entered its sixth week, and most Nigerians are concerned about the president's slow pace in running the government. But is President Buhari really slow? Well, joining us to clear the air on this notion is the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina. It's good to have you on the News Hour.
Good evening.
Let me take the liberty, first of all, to wish you a happy birthday. You just turned 50 today. You didn't know that was coming, did you? How does it feel being 50?
Great. Thank God.
Okay. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
So how will you react to accusations that the president is slow?
Well, there are some truisms in life that have been well proven. And one is that slow and steady wins the race. Okay. I wonder if that is not true again, but it remains true because it's been proven, it's been tested, and it's been found worthy. So I wouldn't say the president is slow. Whatever you do in life, you react, or you respond, or you pace yourself based on situation at hand. How you will do something this evening may differ from how you do another one tomorrow, depending on the circumstance at hand. So the circumstance at hand in terms of national life now may have determined the pace of the president. And it is better for him to respond based on what is on ground than to rush through. There's a saying that some people rush into where even angels fear to tread. When you rush into places where angels fear to tread, of course, you can run into landmines. You will make very grave mistakes that at the end of the day you will be sorry for. Is
the government afraid to make mistakes?
There are certain mistakes you should not make.
Okay, all right. Let's come to the issue of the salary slash by 50%. Buhari's salary, President Buhari's salary is 14 million. While his vice is about 12 million or thereabout, he has slashed it to 50%. It is a good gesture at face value, but many critics are saying this may just be some PR stunt.
Critics will always be there. And I pity the country that does not even have critics, because critics add something to national life. But then you don't have to criticize for the sake of criticizing. I'm sure if President Buhari earns 14 million per month, not annually now, they will still criticize. Now, he has cut his salary by half, they are still criticizing. So critics will always be there. But I think the gesture is quite symbolic. Symbolic in that he wants to show that this is about service to our country. And service to our country must not necessarily be quantified in terms of cash.
Do you think the symbolism is lost on Nigerians who are criticizing this move?
I am sure the discerning Nigerians, and I believe there are millions of them, the discerning Nigerians appreciate it and they recognize it. But there are some who, even if they get to heaven, they will criticize. So they are the ones that are criticizing.
Okay, so this is a good gesture, like you have said, and there are Nigerians who do agree with this. But what about other allowances? Many people are saying this slash in salaries is just not enough. It's just like a drop in the ocean. What about other things like ESTA codes, and other allowances?
No, but
should we expect cuts?
The statement on that slash was clear. Both basic salary and allowances were slashed. For instance, before that slash, the take-home pay of the president, basic and allowance, was 1.4 million. Now he's going to earn 700,000. That already shows that both basic and allowances were slashed.
One wonders if they can really live within these figures, considering the value of the naira and what have you at this time.
Yes.
On the removal of troops from the highways, many people have criticized this government for not thinking through that decision in the first place, because it looks like there has been an about turn, asking the military to go back to the roads against the backdrop of the increase or the rise in terrorist attacks here and there. Was this a mistake on the part of the government?
It was not. I think it was maybe miscommunicated or misunderstood. Because I was at that meeting. It was a security meeting. And the president gave an instance of one day he was returning from Niger State. And he said shortly before entering Abuja, they ran into a massive traffic holdup because the 4 lanes that were entering Abuja suddenly became 1 lane. And they were there for a long time. And he was curious. And when eventually he got to the source of the snarl, traffic snarl, he saw that it was one soldier that was there. And that soldier was just doing like this to all vehicles, passing them, passing them. So he said when he passed him, he now parked. And he went down. And he told him, he hadn't been sworn in as president then. That he told the soldier that, well, at least I used to be General Buhari. So this thing you are doing, what is the impact? What is the effect? You have just caused traffic hold up here, and you are just doing like this for vehicles to pass. Now he told the security chiefs, if that soldier had technological, if he had the equipment to detect if anybody was carrying something, it's another thing. He didn't have anything. So he said, instead of using soldiers for those kind of duties, which traffic wardens could do, why don't you move out those soldiers in non-essential areas? He was emphatic, non-essential areas. In other words, places where you still will need soldiers at checkpoints for security, like where you have insurgency, where you have kidnapping and other endemic criminal acts. They were to remain. I don't know how it was communicated, whether it was wrongly communicated or it was some Nigerians who decided to misinterpret it. And suddenly it became an issue. It should not have been an issue in the first place because the president was clear. He said in non-essential areas, remove soldiers from checkpoints. Okay. And then it became an issue when it shouldn't have been.
Well, it's good that you've cleared the air on that. Maybe you want to clear the air on why we do not have ministers till now, about 2 months after this government came into power. Many Nigerians expected that this government would hit the ground running.
Well, I'll say it's not 2 months because I listened to you as you read the news. It says as the Buhari regime enters its 6th week. So
well, about almost 2 months.
Well,
for the average Nigerian today, yes, 6 weeks is a long time not to have a cabinet in place.
Yes, but the Constitution does not prescribe a minimum time or a maximum time for forming cabinet. What the Constitution says is that there must be a Federal Executive Council with ministers drawn from each state of the Federation. It is now the prerogative of whoever is the president to determine when to constitute his cabinet. The ones before President Buhari constituted their cabinets in July. President Obasanjo was in July, President Yar'Adua was in July. And like I said at the beginning, your pace is determined by what you have to achieve and what you meet on ground. So the president is the one who knows the state of the nation in terms of economy, in terms of the polity, in terms of the bureaucracy, everything. He has the bigger picture, and that must be the thing determining when he will constitute the cabinet.
You were quoted as saying that the president will choose his cabinet at the right time.
Yes.
When is the right time?
I said at the fullness of time. When the fullness of time comes, he doesn't delay again. So I believe that fullness of time will come. And when
the average Nigerian is wondering how much longer we have to wait.
I think that average Nigerian will need to learn patience. He will need to learn patience. Be patient with this president because you trusted him and you gave him a 4-year mandate. He has spent just 6 weeks in that 4 years. Be patient with him.
Before coming on board, do you think, or well, let me say this is a question that Nigerians are asking. Did the president understand or appreciate the enormity of Nigeria's problems? There's insecurity, there's unemployment, the Naira is gone down south. Is this presidency overwhelmed?
No, he must have realized the enormity of the problems. One, because he's been he's been head of state, military head of state before. He's headed the Petroleum Trust Fund. He's been a governor before. He's held so many positions in the country. So I'm sure that he knew what the problems were. And of course, you don't go campaigning without having diagnosed what the problems of the country are. Otherwise, what do you promise the electorate?
Okay, now the president will be going to the United States at the end of this month, around the 22nd of July. He'll be meeting
19th.
with, about 19th?
Yes,
okay, he'll be
yes.
meeting with President Obama. Apart from insecurity, what are the other things they'll be discussing?
Another key thing they will be discussing is how to retrieve funds looted from Nigeria. The president told us before that when he went to G7 meeting in Germany in June, he met with the G7 leaders, and President Obama particularly promised that Nigeria only needed to give information about looted funds, and America will help us to retrieve those funds. And the president has told us that those funds are in billions of dollars. So I believe that this trip to the US will afford the president the opportunity to also make available whatever information he has already to the American president, who has promised that once information is given, his country will help Nigeria to repatriate, to recover and repatriate those loots.
And Nigerians will be waiting, of course, to see this happen. Nigerians cannot wait. Mr. Femi Adesina, Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity. It's been nice having you on the News Hour.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.